Hello dreamers, welcome back to my channel. As promised, today the first part of the tutorial on how I created this on Dreams. What we will see today will be the box and how I gave it this fake 3D effect. And that chicken, as it jumps inside the box, seems to have a soul, that fried chicken. What do you think? In the second part of the tutorial we'll focus on the character instead of jumping out. I wanted to make a dedicated tutorial because I think it's the most complex part of the project. As always, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and watch the video until the end. For me it's really very important, friends. And however of you creates something with the help of my tutorials, let me know. Don't be shy. We'll focus on the box and how I made this 3D effect, and then continue with the perspective effect given by the chicken. I have already made some tutorials on the perspective effects that can be created here on Dreams with the help of anchor points. If you haven't seen them yet, you will find the links in the description. Let's start from the box and its composition. There are two main elements. What you see in the foreground is the front face of the red box that I drew on Procreate with this trapezoidal shape. I changed the color of the other faces to make it easier for you to understand. All these shapes are the same, just with different distortion keyframes. Finally, we found the face above, which corresponds to the back of the box. Here you can see better. But don't worry, we'll do an exercise so that we can understand how all these shapes behave to create a perfect 3D effect. First of all the faces of the box are on different tracks. As you can see, the foreground shape in red. We then find the face on the back in light blue. For the side faces I deleted the distortion keyframe, and you can see them in their original rectangular shape. And here is the bottom of the box in dark blue. In the exercise we'll repeat the animation of distorting the faces for the 3D effect. I'm hiding the other shapes for now. Let's start with the animation of the face in the foreground. It will be a little slower to let you better appreciate the movement. I'm going to add a second keyframe at this point with the distortion tool. For the first keyframe where the face has its original shape, I will have to distort the form like this. I imagined there was a floor below, but if you want to help yourself for a better perspective, you can add a reference grid, a plane like this, which you will then distort as needed. In this case, it will not be necessary to be too precise. The important thing is to have a reference to understand where the ground will be. So let's finish distorting the shape. Obviously try to be quite precise here instead, because the vertices on the left will have to be mirrored to those on the right. Okay, I think it works well. As a trend curve I keep ease in and out. Now we'll take care of the bottom of the box, but we'll do things reverse. First doing the distortion with the object, flipped over. I'm going to set the keyframes corresponding to the face in the foreground, obviously with a distortion tool. And the second one here. Okay. Here now I'm going to distort the shape, making sure bottom vertices touch the red face underneath. Make sure the shapes are touching, otherwise during the animation there will be gaps between the elements, and we don't want that. Okay, I would say the vertices touch perfectly. For the upper vertices I need help. I'll help myself with the red face. I'll copy it and paste it below. We move it so that the keyframes match. Change color, this light blue. Ok. Delete this. Now I just have to move it upper. First I add keyframes with Move Scale tool, always corresponding to the distortion. I hold down and move up. More or less here. If there are misalignment, we can delete the keyframe on the x-axis so that the animation is perfect. This is the result, but from a perspective point of view, I will have to squash the face above a bit. I will then move these vertices upwards. To keep a straight line, we can also help ourselves with the Dreams interface. This is a new incredible feature. What do you think will be implemented in Dreams 2? I'll move it a little more. Ok. At this point I can easily modify the vertices above of the bottom box. I remove some opacity from this face, like this, ok. And here I move the vertices in correspondence with the shape above. And here. Vamos! Now I will have to create the animation on this shape, so that the box appears to tip over. I have to modify the vertices also in the first distortion keyframe. I will then have to crush the base. I move the vertices in correspondence with the base. Try to be precise here too. Now let's do the same thing with the upper ones. Trying to keep them slightly above the vertices below. Okay, already works very well. What do you think? Also for the lateral faces I will do the animation in reverse, starting with the box upside down. Here it will be a little easier because we already have all the references we need. First of all, I'll bring the vertices to this position. Let's zoom in now to be more precise. Keep attention to avoid misalignment. There is a problem here. Now I have to fix the initial distortion keyframe, obviously in correspondence with the other animations. I will have to bring these vertices above and these below to create the correct rotation of the lateral face. making sure the shape hides behind the red face. And here the result. Pretty good. Let's do the same thing with the green face, and this is the box flipping animation. Really interesting how here on Dreams, with the tools we have available, we can create such amazing fake 3D animations. Now let's move on to the animation of the chicken wings, fried chicken wings. There is a very fast animation at the beginning where the chicken wings are thrown out of the box. But perhaps the most interesting thing here is the perspective effect that is created at this point. To create the illusion of perspective, I used the box over there in the background and also divide the chicken wings into groups, starting from the ones in foreground and ending in the background. If I hide the groups, as you can see, the elements gradually disappear in a precise way, from the closest ones to the farthest ones. As you can see, there are multiple groups. This helped me to work precisely, being able to manage the elements separately, to create the animation with a correct perspective and timing. And this precise division allowed me to be much more accurate in this phase, where the chicken comes to life and jumps into the box. Obviously, now we'll do the exercise together, so that you can understand better. Let's go work on the foreground group for the exercise. I'm going to copy and paste it above first. Enter the group. We'll focus on one element. I will delete the others for now. I also remove the animation keyframes from here and start all over again. Delete lens blur. OK. Now, as you can see, the group containing the chicken wings has its anchor point here. This is used to create this perspective animation. In the first part of the timeline, when the box is tipped over like this, the chicken wings pop out. To obtain a precise perspective effect, I purposely divide this animation into separate groups, also to decide different timings when necessary. Then each chicken wings comes to life with a vibration. With the performance mode, I directly animate the movement on each single shape. Here it will be up to you to have a lot of sensitivity at the beginning with a soft movement that will get faster and faster. Not bad at all. Of course, it will be a bit boring to make the animations for all the pieces, but much faster than frame by frame. Our delicious chicken wings come to life. Very strange considering they are already fried. And then jump back into the box, waiting to be eaten. I'm going to fix two new keyframes first with the Move and Scale tool. The first one at 11 seconds, the second one I'll set at 12 seconds. I'll make the animation a little slower to allow you to understand. At this point, I'm going to move it to the bottom of the box, which in the meantime has returned to its upright position. In this way, the chicken wings returns inside the box, but I would say that for the moment we have missed the lip. Add the keyframe on the Y-axis at this point and move the shape up. In this way you can create a perfect jumping animation that is very realistic. I delete all these rotation keyframes. And I add a new rotation here again. Let's try to give it just a spin. Trend curve to linear. There are still some small details to fix, especially on the trend curves of the animation rest. I then go to modify the trend curves on the other coordinates. On X I set it to linear. For Y, here is out and here is in. As you can see, the physics work much better and the movement is more realistic. On the scale, coordinates change to linear. Okay. Now we have to make it disappear behind the box so it can fit it inside. At this point in the timeline I'm going to cut the layer. I think here and cut. In this way, without using other layers or masks that could weigh down the file, I directly cut the chicken wings at this point. Well, dreamers, we have reached the end of today's tutorial. I hope you find it useful for your future projects. As always, I invite you to write in the comments if you want to delve deeper into the topic or if something is not clear. I'm here to help you. I remind you that in the next video we'll deal with the animation of the character in this video. For now, thank you so much for watching and